and welcome back. Today, today I think we're gonna just work on a couple of small things. This dock is very lacking. I think we're gonna work on this first and foremost. We're gonna work on getting some basic things down over here, making the place look a little bit prettier. Work on some basic landscaping. A couple of things that I've done off camera. As you can see, I built a very quick and dirty and kind of ugly uh sugarcane farm over here. Weirdly enough, I think, oops, weirdly enough, I think it's out of range. I think I built it a little bit too far away. Oh, well, no, I'm getting a little bit. Okay, maybe not. Sugarcane just takes a while to grow. But I've got a sugarcane farm. I did do a little bit of exploring off camera. I just wanted to grab a couple of sapling types, and I found these. I didn't really go deep diving into the pale oak forest. I just like poked in, grabbed my saplings, got out. I've aged some copper. I was gonna set up a build and do a building. Then I decided I laid down the foundation for the building and said, I don't like that, and so I'm scratching it. I've spent a lot of this week sick, so if I sound a little funny, it's because I'm sick. But yeah, so I think we're just gonna take it easy this week and work on some detail. First things first is this stock is super lacking. So I think what I'm gonna do is I thought I might do something with this, but I think the best solution is just to tear this down. So first things first, this is coming down. All right, so the boat is gone, and I have finished terraforming this out to the point where I wanted it. I've also gone through and anything that was not sand or sandstone, I have gone through and replaced it up to a point all around the edge. So much better. Now, if we wanted to, we could shrink the stock back in a little bit. Um, I'm not really sure if that's going to be the case here or not, but we'll figure that out as we go. Now, I'm going to come and I'm going to dump these things into a box here because I'm not too concerned with where those go at the moment. Everything's all sorted and I couldn't be bothered anyway. So that's all done. That's done. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to detail this dock. Now, I've got two ideas in mind, right? So there's some pretty standard things that you can do when it comes to decorating, terraforming, detailing docks, and things like that. And I'm torn between the usual thing, which I can kind of show you what that is, or something a little bit different. So I have a handful of things in my inventory right here to kind of demonstrate. So first things first is you have to give it kind of some sort of support or else things look funky because your brain's just like it's not it messes with your brain. So the first thing you could do is add basic supports along the sides of it. Let me grab some fencing real quick. So option one, and like this doesn't match, but this is just for demonstration for the second. So option one is to take your support, which is usually some sort of a log, and then you go usually a certain number of blocks. So like usually I do 5, so I'll do like uh say here would be the first one, right? And then 1, 2, 3, and so this will be 5. And so you'll bring it up. Sometimes I'll bring it up like to match the one, and then you'll run fencing in between, right? That adds railings, that adds support, that adds structure to the overall dock, right? So kind of debating on this one, and basically I would run 1, 2, 3. I'd run it something like this, and it works a little weird because like I do have this slightly elevated. I could change how it's elevated and make it more of a slope, I guess. Could also add like a normal actual banister along the slope here. I could staircase it down from here to here and then make it a dock. Actually, I like that idea. So, step number 1, I think is yeah, so that's gonna be step number 1 is I'm gonna tear this first bit down. I worked so hard getting this laid out nicely too the first time. So we're gonna staircase it down just like a normal pathing, and then I'm not gonna worry about actually supporting it until it starts to go out into the water. So we have a staircase up to the front. I know it kinda goes against the original, design thought process, but it looks better. Okay, so step number 2 is you need to actually support the dock. Here you can see I've gone through and I've finished this up. I shortened the dock a little bit. That's where the dock used to end, right there where the boat was, or boat is. I have changed this up a little bit. I you um I also raised the dock by literally half a block. It was ocean level, now it's slightly above ocean level, which I think is a little bit better. So all I did was I ran through these are birch logs that are stripped with oak fences and then oak slabs on top. You can also opt to put lanterns there instead, and I would. I just don't really have any right now, and I don't have a whole lot of iron at the moment, so I'd rather not. I was gonna come through and like run some under here, but I can't seem to like waterlog these or anything, so it doesn't look how I want it to. So I'm just gonna nix that idea. And then at the end of the dock, this is something I prefer to do is just add like a little extra little bit. I I just this is how I've always preferred to do it. But that is the dock pretty well completed. So next up on the agenda, so this isn't quite done yet, right? I need to finish this. These 2 layers, I want it to be a sandy little beach. I did do this bit of terrain here already, and I might finish up the front side over here so I can do a little bit more detailing over here. Yeah, let's do that. Let's finish this bit up right now. Now I have this here beach all done and finished up, at least for now. I would like to get some more lighting probably in here. But so something you can do to kind of make the beach flow a little bit better is you can put down these slabs, and I've got some in the water here too. And it just kind of it makes it easier to walk across. It kind of blends it into the dirt a little bit better. It just looks a little bit nicer. You can hide lighting under these too, which is really nice. And then along the water, you can take stairs. Right, these are just staircases, and you can waterlog them and get a sort of eroded sand effect along the water, which I think is really interesting and really nice. I didn't really have the space for it over here for it to look as nice, but just something you can do. You can use it to sink in some of the shoreline a little bit, just nice and easy. Now, I think next, I kind of want to make a tree or a few. I'm thinking I'm gonna pop in a couple of palm trees, like maybe like one right here and one over here, possibly one right here, maybe here. Not sure. Right here would be a good spot, actually, I think. So I'm gonna get the materials for that. Me personally, I use stripped oak logs. I've seen some really nice ones with jungle as well, but for now, I'm just gonna use stripped oak logs, and then I actually need oak leaves, so I need to get, that's not a flat or an angle, but that's not much you can do about that. And that's a simple little palm tree. Now I'm gonna make at least two more of these, I think. And so I will do those and then come back. So now we have three palm trees along the shoreline here. They have a little bit of, they're all a little bit different. None of them are perfect. They all look pretty nice, if I say so anyway. They're not the best palm trees in the world, but they're my palm. Now that I've got these palm trees done, if you can't tell, today is just all about terraforming and detailing, and more terraforming and detailing. Something that I love to put into builds is water features. So I'm thinking I want to put a pond right in here. And then I think I'm actually going to bring the wheat down and kind of start to end it right around here. I have a building that's going to go here. So this part right here that I've done here, where I've moved the land back out. This is actually going to hold. I'm going to put a building here that's going to have the villagers at. I hope you didn't think the villagers were staying in that silo, because they are absolutely not. The villagers are going to go somewhere in here in some sort of building, or maybe two. I'm not sure, but that is where the villagers are going to go. I'm thinking a pond right here. Then I'll bring the wheat down off of this and kind of bring it to a nice finish, maybe around like the back half of the pond. And then I'll run the pond into the ocean. And so, first things first, whenever I dig out a pond, I use the same concept that I do whenever I'm doing any sort of landscaping, any sort of terraforming. I use the rules of, uh, just rules. I use the guideline of 1, 2, 3s, and 5s. Now, this isn't going to be a very big pond. Well, it might be a little decent size. So I'm probably not going to use any walls of 5. I just kind of pick a spot and just, there's my first wall, and just kind of dig based off my initial groundbreaking. Perfect. So that's going to be the outline of the pond to start with. From here, I'm going to clear this out. I'm going to dig it in a couple of layers. Okay. So I have made this 3 layers deep, and I think that will be sufficient for what we're doing. Now, I could go straight ahead and fill this in, but I would like to hide some light sources in the water. I don't really have a lot to detail this with, per se, but I do want to make sure I have some like light sources in the water and things like that. So there's 3 blocks that I'll really use to terraform ponds with. I use um I'll use mud, mossy cobblestone, and soul soil. All right, now I don't have soul soil. I don't plan on going getting any I don't plan on going and getting any soul soil. Do you have cobblestone? I do have moss, and I do have the ability to make mud. So that is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna go through it. I'm gonna pick out where the cobblestone is going to go, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use some mossy cobble half slabs, and use those to kind of mark. I'm going to use those to kind of mark out where I'm going to hide some light sources. So that is all the cobblestone thrown in there. I've got 4 torches hidden just underneath these 4 slabs. And so from here, I'm going to go ahead and waterlog everything. Now, when you are filling in a pond like this and you don't have like just a bunch of ice, because a bunch of ice is an option, start at the bottom and work your way up. That way, so everything will waterlog from the bottom up. Because if not, otherwise, if you just lay it on the top layer, only the top waterlogs, and then it just flows straight down. It doesn't actually. It's not all water sources all the way through. Granted, you can use kelp and other things. I do find it just the easiest and most convenient to go through and do it this way. I also find it enjoyable. So this is just my preference. Like I have filled in massive hand dug out moats this way as well. This is just how I prefer it. And there we are. Now we have a completely filled in pond. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to take everything except for the top layer here, and I'm going to turn it all into mud. And so to do that, I'm just very simply just going to go make some glass bottles and start turning the grass into mud. And hopefully by the time I get to all of it, the grass that is still grass and not dirt will be able to just the grass doesn't stay grass in water. And there we have it. Already looking pretty nice, if you ask me. Now, from here, I want to bring down the wheat field first, I think. So I'm going to work on that really quickly. I'm going to get that done out, brought down. Probably going to have to harvest this wheat to get the seeds to do this wheat. But I'm going to bring down the wheat to kind of where I want it and then finish this out. So here we are back. I've got all the wheat planted. It's not grown yet. I hate you. I hate you so much. No, it keeps happening in my field now. All the wheat is planted. It's not grown yet. Like I said, it's just planted. So kind of got to use your imagination just a little bit to just pull that to there. And just imagine it grown. I've got some moss around the edges here because that's the other thing that I like to do with ponds is I actually like to decorate around the edges of it with moss because I think of moss as something being very luscious and green and usually grows in a very damp environment. And, well, a pond is quite literally that. So I usually just throw moss around the edges of it. I think it adds a nice little touch most of the time. This isn't the right colored grass for moss, but I still think it works pretty well, if we're being honest here. And so it's not going to stay quite like this. This is just to kind of get it in. I don't usually leave the grass whenever I do this. It doesn't like, especially here in this one, like it doesn't actually really match. I don't leave all of the azalea bushes. I pull some of them out because sometimes they grow too thin in some spots, and other places they usually grow too thick. So I pull some of them out, like obviously like this here. Actually, I don't like the placement of these two. So I'm just gonna scoot them back just a touch. And then from here, like I said, I think I'm gonna draw out a small little river. I'm trying to think of where exactly I want it to land because that's kind of crucial. And I'm thinking right here actually feels really, really nice. So I think I want it to go here, and I don't have my shovel. So drawing out rivers and like little streams. This isn't even a river. This is really just a stream. Drawing out streams is more kind of just a feel thing, right? There's no exact science. There's no real way to know if you're getting the right width. I also think I'm gonna go a little bit against the kind of natural rules of terraining. So to I think this is the flattest area, so I think I want it to come out here. Yeah. Alright, so we're gonna pull it out here. Shut up. And so all I'm gonna do still got dirt in my hand? Yes, I do. All I'm gonna do is just pop the water out and just kind of I'm gonna put it there, and then I want it to kinda naturally fall where it's going to fall, right? So, I think that's a good spot. Like, I really am just doing this by feel, right? And so just kinda to where it naturally starts to, like block that off for a second. Where it naturally starts to, like, change elevations is where I want it to change elevations. So, like, this one would actually change elevations here. And I'm just gonna follow you like, just kinda feel it out, kinda work around this curve to get it to come out where I want it to come out at. And so this it's not gonna be perfect. It's gonna be totally just kinda feeling it out. And then from here, all I'm gonna do is just kind of fix up the terrain to kinda match what everything else is doing where it's at, and leave that kind of as that. So I need to take a little bit of the sand, and all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna replace here out with sand, and then this I actually wanna replace with dirt, and then I'll actually put mud there. So there, I'm just gonna bust the water through, and so got it all dug out. I've got the blocks replaced that I wanted to replace. And so the way I'll run streams is a little bit odd, right? At least I feel like it could be seen as odd. So wherever it would actively actually flow, I let it flow. Like right here, I'll let it actually flow, and below it, I'll put the water source blocks and run solid water all the way through, right? So I want to run my solid water through so it goes all the way through. It stays nice and full to the top of the block, and then just if it has a drop off, I let it just flow down. However, Minecraft decides it wants to flow. I'm not gonna fight it too much. Very nice and simple, very clean-ish. Now I'm gonna go grab my water bottle and go back to making more mud. Okay, so here is the finished look of the pond and water stream. Wait a second, I'll build up a couple of blocks so we can kind of see it a little bit better. Yeah, that's really nice. I like that. It's a small thing, but it makes a difference. It adds a little bit of life, a little bit of movement, a little different splash of color. And ponds are just so nice. Like, let's be honest, ponds are just really nice. I've hidden a lot of torches under carpets. If you see it there, and so lighting shouldn't be a problem right here in the slightest bit. Like I'm not even sure like I put lighting underneath these. I'm not even sure that's enough lighting along the shoreline, but we'll figure it out. It'll be fine. I think that's gonna be the end of the episode for today. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any comments or feedback, I would love to hear them. I'd love to know what you guys are thinking, what you guys want to see. Anything is really, truly appreciated. See you next time.